Right now on NBC 26 Live at 6, the Packers give fans the ultimate Christmas gift, pulling off a win against the Vikings. Plus, ringing in the holiday spirit, it's a big day for the Red Kettle donations in Oshkosh. And we're tracking Santa. We'll have reports on where he is throughout the night. We even talked to him before his big adventure. Now we begin tonight with a weather alert. Freezing rain is heading into the area, making travel tricky tonight. Now meteorologist Stephanie Mead joins us now. Stephanie, what is heading our way tonight?
Well, for now, we're going to stay relatively quiet. The rain, as well as the freezing rain, doesn't move in as we head into later tomorrow. We have a freezing rain advisory 9 a.m. tomorrow, and we also have a winter weather advisory up towards our northern counties starting again at 9 a.m., making traveling conditions a bit tricky and slippery as you're heading out the door tomorrow morning. So we're starting off with some freezing drizzle, changing over to mostly just rain showers throughout the afternoon. Areas up towards the north, though, we'll see primarily snow. So road conditions are going to be a bit slick. So use caution if you're out and about tomorrow morning and throughout the afternoon. Right now we're staying mostly cloudy and rather quiet, just seeing quite a bit of cloud cover across the area, and temperatures are still holding on into the upper 30s and will continue to fall though as we head into later this afternoon or later this evening. 31 degrees by 7 p.m., 9 p.m. 31, 29 by your 11 o'clock hour. 32 for tonight, but as we're tracking Santa, we're looking at him right now primarily over England, and as we continue to track him, he's looking at mostly clear conditions right now. However, that won't be the case though as we head throughout early tomorrow morning. I'll give you details on your Christmas forecast coming up in just a bit. Raquel?
Well, the Packers pulled off a big win over the Minnesota Vikings today in a Christmas Eve showdown. Andy McDonald has the latest on what this means heading into the playoffs. Andy?
Thanks, Raquel. The Packers aren't getting a lump of coal this year, and I know a thing or two about that. Thanks, Santa. Green Bay played extra nice, beating the Vikings to move their winning streak to 5 games, and more importantly, lining up a showdown with the Lions next Sunday for all the NFC North marbles. The Grinch on hand for the game at Lambeau Field today in the first quarter. History. Aaron Rodgers, he'll hit Jordy Nelson, making them the most prolific duo in Green Bay Packers history with 58 combined touchdowns passing. Brett Favre and Antonio Freeman. Then Clay Matthews playing through the pain late in the second quarter, sacks Sam Bradford, forces a fumble, and they'll recover. That leads to this. Still in the first half, Rodgers evades the rush and uses that B button. He'll juke past the defender to rumble in the end zone, and a 28-13 lead going into the break. In the second half, startling moment though, Rodgers crunched and sacked. He says he got a stinger, but it won't be a concern moving forward. More importantly, he returned to the game and the Packers win 38-25. Now with a win, they're a win away from the NFC North title. And for more on the victory, we go out to Lambeau Field with Charlie Sakaitis.
Andy, the Packers hung 38 on Minnesota today, and the whole team played exceptional. But Aaron Rodgers, he, as they say, was in the zone, had almost 350 yards passing, 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 with his legs, and he knew he had it from the jump.
From the first throw today, I was in a different headspace. I just felt that I was, for whatever reason, had a heightened awareness and focus, and I was seeing things better. I was playing slower in my mind from the start. Good place to be at. I wish you could just harness that every single game, that feeling, but definitely was in a good headspace starting the game.
Oh, I think he's an MVP. I don't think there's no question about it. I mean, especially, he's been playing at MVP level for a number of years. So, and that was an MVP performance. There's no question about it. I don't want to disrespect the other players that are having great years, but he's the best player in the National Football League, in my opinion.
And as you saw in the highlights earlier, the only worrisome part about this game this evening was that hit that Aaron Rodgers took him a bit before he got back up. Was reported as a stinger. Rodgers himself said, yeah, I'll be a little sore, but he should be fine going forward. From Lambeau Field, I'm Charlie Sakaitis for NBC 26.
Thanks, Charlie. Well, fans at Lambeau Field today enjoying Christmas Eve with family and friends while cheering on the green and gold. They were getting in the holiday spirit, dressing as Santa and wearing Christmas gear. For some, there's no better place to celebrate the holiday than Lambeau Field.
This is a perfect Christmas present to be here at Lambeau Field on Christmas Eve, because where else can you celebrate a Packer win? I mean, if we win the division, it'll be the best Christmas present ever.
As for Christmas wishes, every fan said all they were hoping for was a Packers victory. Well, Well, the Minnesota Vikings trip to Green Bay got off to a rough start last night. The team's plane sliding off the taxiway at Appleton International Airport last night, leaving players and personnel stuck for hours. NBC 26's MARISA DECANDIDO is at the airport now with the new information.
The airport spokesman says the plane landed at 5:15, but the last player wasn't off until 11:30. So the question is, why did it take so long? And today, we're learning that answer. It wasn't the way the trip to Green Bay was supposed to go.
This is unusual, and something like this has not happened here in Appleton before.
The Minnesota Vikings trapped on their team plane for hours after it slid off the taxiway at Appleton International Airport Friday night.
The airline has a process to go through when there's an incident like this. It did take some time for the airline to cycle through their options.
The snowy conditions, one of the reasons the airline called first responders with aerial platform trucks instead of using the emergency slide.
To deplane your passengers at night in the middle of a snowstorm onto a concrete ramp, two-story drop, is really not a best practice.
He says Delta sent a mechanic crew to the airport and the plane made it to the gate at 7:30 this morning.
The plane did check out okay, and it's scheduled to depart this evening.
At this point, they're not sure what happened.
Our primary concern was the safety of the passengers and getting everyone off the airplane safely.
There were no injuries and everyone got off the plane safely. The Vikings made it to their hotel by midnight. Pat TRACEY says the Vikings are not flying back to Minneapolis on the same plane. They're on a different plane out of Green Bay. In Greenville, keeping you connected, MARISA DECANDIDO, NBC 26.
Well, Christmas Eve marks one of the busiest travel days of the year. AAA reports more than 100 million Americans, the most on record, are traveling for the holidays this year. That's 1.5 million more than last year, and the increase is suspected to be driven by additional consumer spending, low gas prices, and increased consumer optimism, according to AAA. Now, with all those people on the road and snow, rain, and sleet moving in for Christmas Day, people are being asked to be careful. Just last night, during the snowstorm, a Brown County Sheriff's deputy was helping a vehicle that slid off on I-41 in the town of Lawrence. While out of his squad car, talking to the tow truck driver, a 19-year-old driver hit the back of the wrecker, pushing it on top of that squad car, while throwing the deputy and tow truck driver to the ground. The 19-year-old was trapped inside the vehicle and had to be cut out. He suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The deputy and tow truck driver were treated for minor injuries and released from the hospital. Well, flowers and candles fill the streets of the Christmas market in Berlin this Christmas Eve, the site of a truck attack that killed 12 people earlier this week. The market reopened on Thursday with a makeshift memorial paying tribute to those killed. Today, that memorial only grew. The fugitive wanted in the deadly attack was killed in a shootout with police Friday in a suburb of Milan, Italy. The attack has heightened concerns across Europe in the days leading up to Christmas. Well, it's not just overseas where security is being heightened. Here in the U.S., security is also being stepped up this weekend as police keep a close eye on places of worship for the holidays. NBC's Morgan Radford reports.
Heavy guns and police barricades. Not the type of holiday ornaments you'd expect to see around the Christmas tree.
We've seen some of the cops carrying look like either AK-47s or assault rifles.
Just a little extra alert, I think, keep an extra eye on your kids and your bags.
This week's attack on a Berlin marketplace left 12 people dead. A fresh reminder to major cities across the world on holiday alert. In London, more police patrolling the palace.
Policemen are everywhere, so yeah.
While Australian authorities charged 4 suspects for allegedly plotting a Christmas Day attack.
It is a time of happiness and joy. These terrorists sought to disrupt it. They have been thwarted. They are in custody.
Here at home, it's as much about prevention as it is response. In Boston and Philadelphia, more police have been assigned to patrol holiday sites since the Berlin attack, while the FBI currently investigates claims that ISIS supporters called for attacks against American churches.
It's important to put this in context. It did not come from ISIS. Most ISIS sources online have no idea what this is or where it came from, so it's by no means official.
In New York, security lined up at the historic St. Patrick's Cathedral. Greater police presence often routine during the holidays. And this year, a specially trained police unit armed with guns to respond to potential shooters.
You can't protect every place all the time or you protect nothing. So we do analysis of high visibility locations, high traveled locations, and then we protect them.
This is the first Christmas the NYPD has trained and deployed an elite unit called the CRC, or Critical Response Command, to guard the city. New information now. Today marks a match day for the Oshkosh Salvation Army. Donations up to $25,000 are matched by the Oshkosh Corporation Foundation. And for those who work at the Salvation Army, they say that money raised during the holiday season plays an important role throughout the year while making volunteers feel good about helping others.
Well, it's very rewarding. Here in Oshkosh, our Salvation Army's food pantry serves roughly 1 out of every 10 households in Oshkosh. We also prepare about 50,000 meals.
The Oshkosh Salvation Army says donations dropped last week with the snowstorm, and they're hopeful to make that up now during the holidays. Well, a hot Christmas meal is a tradition for many, but for some, it wouldn't be possible without generosity from others. The We Care Meals program in Appleton offers a Christmas feast from 11 to 2 on Christmas Day, and in Green Bay, the new community shelter will be hosting Christmas Day meals at 11:30 and 5 o'clock. For a complete list of places serving free holiday meals, just head to our website and click on the Christmas Eve dinners link. Well, still ahead here on NBC 26, we sit down with the man in red as he prepares to travel across the globe tonight. But first, what is the weather looking like for Christmas Day? Your forecast is next.